And let's start with fullbacks. Tom Trbojevic expected to get named at fullback today. So whether or not he plays will obviously have a big impact on the decision on whether we're holding or selling. I got a bit of mail that Ruben Garrick will play centre, which I don't love for his Supercoach output, but not the end of the world. Obviously got the nice matchup with the Titans. So there are a lot of factors here around Tommy Trbojevic and fullbacks that will dictate trades this week. The one thing about Tommy Turbo is, first he plays the Titans at Brookie, so it's a great matchup. Obviously looks hampered, but if he plays, they can't be too concerned about him, you would think. The other one is that I had him earmarked as a sell before Origin because he'd missed round 13 due to Origin and then round 14 Manly on the bye. Plus, there's every chance he gets rests after Origin 2 and 3. But he's also the kind of bloke that if he's not 100%, which he doesn't look like he is, he could absolutely go to Brad Fittler and say, look, mate, I'm not at my best. I need to focus on Manly, get myself right, give it to someone else who's fit and firing a spot. And there's a million centres you could go to, or wingers, fullbacks, wherever you want to for the Blues. So Tommy Trbojevic could be available round 13 for Supercoach, which changes everything.
For sure. 100% it does. He looks so far from 100% at the moment. That was a very tough watch the other day. I obviously didn't captain him or anything, so I kind of enjoyed watching him not go berserk. But I think there is a real world where you're spot on, and he does play round 13.
Yeah.
If you don't have him, tough.
You'll be getting him before round 13, I think, if you don't own him by that time. So I'm just on the fence, and let's say, I expect him to get named today, not guaranteed, but I'm expecting him to. And then you look at Reece Walsh, who, he got 38 on the weekend. There was a down week coming. It had to happen. He'd gone bonkers all season, but he's at top dollar. He's not probably going to get any higher in price. He was one that the Broncos have a tough draw coming up. I was willing to sell and cash in for, say, someone like James Tedesco. But also I'm thinking that with Kalen Ponga back, I think he's the Maroons' #1, provided he's fit and good to go. So I think Walsh is probably available around 13 for us as well. So I'm tempted just to hold both of them to 13 now. But where do you sit on it?
Yeah, I seriously considered selling Walsh 2 weeks ago, just watching this draw coming and everything. I'm glad I didn't, despite the, not the great score this week, but the week before that, I think he scored 100 again. So I was happy to hold, but now I do want to get rid of him. I also think that Reece Walsh is a serious chance to be that Queensland 18th man still. I reckon he's a serious chance to take that. So I'm very much, I think this is a classic. We'll know what was the right call when we look back in 6 weeks' time, because it is a complete and utter guessing game. And I do think that if you do guess it right, you're flying. And for all the planning and everything we can do, KP could get concussed getting into his car tomorrow and miss Origin. And all of a sudden, Reece Walsh is the fullback for 3 games there, and we're completely fucked all over again.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It makes it... And that's what I mean. If that does happen, by the time we get to round 13, that first major bye week, Origin 1, because of the tough draw coming up, he might lose 150k by then, Reece Walsh. He might not. He might keep turning up, happy days, but... Yeah, I'm not so sure. And then you look at a trade-in target, someone like Teddy, who looks like a pretty good go now, who's around that 600k mark, very, very cheap. The Roosters have a nice few games coming up leading into Origin. They play Penrith there at one stage, but in and around that, pretty nice. But then you think Ted will be unavailable in 3 major bye rounds, and then just a red-hot chance of getting rested around the Origin period by the Roosters, especially when you've got Manu and Suoliti, who can both slot into fullback so easily. So I'm tempted by Teddy, but I don't know. Do you cash in Walsh, a bloke who's fit and firing, and the Broncos are killing it, or do you trade in Tommy Turbo under an injury cloud, but near bottom dollar for what Tommy Turbo's capable of with a nice Titans matchup? Yeah. Do you pay up for Latrell Mitchell at over 900k on a tear, but also again Origin looming? Another bloke who's a chance of getting rested in around that Origin period, so he'll miss a lot of games. I believe he misses around the 3 major buy-ins, 13, 16, 19, and then I think the Bunnies have the buy, it might be around 20. So I know that's looking a fair way ahead, but he's missing a lot of action there.
They've got to buy around 25, the Bunnies.
Round 25.
Yeah, because it's in my Supercoach draft.
And round
finals.
20. And round 20.
Okay.
So, Latrell will be missing round 19 and round 20. Again, that's a fairway head. He can do a lot of damage in that time, but also missing round 13, round 16. So, like, what are your thoughts on fullback? Because there are a lot of different avenues we can go.
Yeah, just on Kalen Ponga too, obviously we mentioned that if he's fit, he'll be the fullback for Queensland, we both assume. So he's actually got a bye between now and Origin, so he's only got to get through 3 games. Yeah. Parramatta, which will actually be there this weekend. Nice little segue. We had a giveaway last week, and we think we're waiting for lockout to ensure what Clint Gutherson's score actually was. But we have got a few winners of that, so I will be randomising those, and I'll be announcing the 2 winners on social media this week. So we might have scheduled that giveaway in the most chaotic week of all time, Supercoach-wise, for announcements. So stay tuned on social media for that. Those 2 winners will be joining me and Timmy next Friday, 6 p.m. at CommBank Stadium. I can't fucking wait. That's going to be unreal.
Mate, we took the piss last weekend, but are you going to be allowed near Jermaine Hopgood? That's dangerous, and you know it is.
It's ABO territory.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stay tuned for those guys. As far as fullbacks for me, mate, I was really hoping that I would show up today and you would maybe convince me on what to do here, because I have no clue whatsoever. I love what Latrell's doing at the moment, but does miss a lot of footy over the next few weeks.
Over 9, like you look at Latrell at over 900k, then you look at Teddy at 600k, 300k swing. That is huge.
Huge. Yeah, 100%. Mate, what about, like, and I'm only looking at, like, buys sort of stuff, how many games he plays. What about Gutho?
I just wouldn't probably want to do it until round 13. I think Gutho will be a very, very solid option around the bye period. I just want to wait until... So what he had 3 weeks on the trot, 71, 74, 75, and then 86, I think it was, on the weekend. So going well. He's had 1 score under 62 this season. It was a 37 against Penrith. In that game, he based 35. Pretty freaking solid, isn't he?
Worth considering.
So look, what do they got? The Knights this week will be at it. Into the Titans, into the Raiders. It's a good draw.
He's just hard to trust, though, isn't he?
Not so much hard to trust, because he's so reliable for that anywhere from 60 to 80. I just want that 150 plus ceiling that Latrell and Teddy and a few of these fullbacks do offer. But look, probably one more for round 13 for me, but hard to knock what he's doing.
I'll tell you what would have been really nice and juicy, which I was hoping there was a hope for last week when I heard the news. I was hoping that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck might have been effective immediately. And welcome in you come, kid. Imagine. Would have been unreal.
Oh.
It's popping off in the draft chat. We thought for a moment there that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck was going to be added to the waiver. Would have been fucking chaos.
Oh, my goodness.
Would have been unreal.
So, yeah, just going through any other fullbacks. Nick Meaney on a tear. He's so good. Yeah, like no one else out of the main ones we've sort of said. Little cheeky old AJ Brimson there. Holy shit, speaking of good, what a gun.
Yeah, he's
especially in first halves of games.
Such a good footballer.
So 578k, just having a look at the draw. But
are we ruling AJ? Are we sure AJ is not going to play Origin at all?
No, I'm not sure of it. The Titans have the bye in round 13, so there's probably no real use in going early. But people looking at Dylan Brown for 13s and 5'8". I was going to say AJ, but he could play. I mean, he could play Origin. Yeah. As it stands, it's KP's spot to lose.
Yeah. What about? I know he's never been, Supercoach relevant, but it doesn't play round 13, obviously, but he plays round 16. Dill Edwards won't be missing for Origin. Be there and thereabouts. Pretty fucking consistent.
780k prior to, obviously, lockout ending. Averaging 76.
The other reason why I like him during that Origin period is, granted, a lot of their guns will be out, but that'll almost be his team. Assuming that
he'll do everything.
He'll do everything. He'll do a lot. So
maybe. Yeah, there's some real flyers. So, look, if I'm giving my thoughts right now heading into the week, I'm probably thinking I hold Tommy Turbo. It's funny how quickly this game can change, but if Tommy Turbo's named and plays this week against the Titans, put it this way, Manly are coming second. They've got Kyle Weeks who can play fullback. They've got Ruben Garrick who can play fullback. if he plays, they're not too worried about him. And he gets to match up at home against the Titans. So if he plays, they'll probably hold Tommy Turbo. I can see why you would sell Reece Walsh, but I just think there's probably other areas that I'd prefer to address than him.